Hello Comienzo. Alright, before we mow any further, I just wanted to catch up on this little grass clippings deposit area back here and see if anything started decomposing. My assumption is nothing is decomposing. We maybe have a little bit of moisture retention and some rot that's happening in there. So if anything, as I said before, I think that yes, the value lies in the fact that some leaching happens the first, second, third, fourth day after you've deposited those clippings. But after that, I don't think that value is really anything that great. So let's dig around here and see what's going on. Alright, so this here is about the deepest patch and the oldest patch. This is where I started. So let's just start. Once again, I hope nothing bites me. I suspect we'll get a little bit of something fluffy happening there. It almost looks like it wanted to decompose, but nothing. Nothing. Oh, there we got the moisture. Let me show you up close. So there's some moisture. There's a leaf. Once again, trying. Remember, this is about 3 months, eh? It's pulling apart quite easily. I still think that needed a lot of work. Let's go a bit deeper. Please, nothing bite me. Where's soil level? There we go. There's soil. That's the part that was touching soil. Let's get a little bit of that fluffy stuff on the bottom. Oh, there's ground. That's it, guys. That's still dry. So this is probably about 40 odd centimeters tall or high or deep or whatever you want to reference it as. I want to try and get some of that fluffy stuff that I know will be right against the soil. Now that's actual soil. Where's the fluffy stuff? There's the fluffy stuff. So that's soil plus fluffy stuff, and if we look at it really closely, you'll notice that it is just grass clippings and leaves, still not even fully decomposed, and then the soil that I just pulled up. So I hate to say it, but I was right in that circumstance. And the one thing that I was hoping for was weed suppression, and as you can clearly tell, it did not suppress weeds either. In fact, I think it just helped them. There's some LM trying to push its way through there. That's still looking kind of green, and we've just got weeds everywhere, and a variety of weeds, broadleafs, grassy. I just don't have any sedges down here because I don't think it's damp enough. But yeah, I would say in my books, that's a lost cause right there. Alright, so I think the only benefit really is that you don't want to leave soil barren or open. So covering it with something, even just this, is helping to some extent. But that's not good for your grass. Maybe for big open areas like what I had here, just these bold patches, cover them with some organic matter. Yes, that is going to help. So this is helping by retaining moisture, and I'm certain that there's some nutrient leaching happening there. And in warmer temperatures during the growing season, when more microbes and other organisms are doing their thing, this will obviously decompose faster. But I did start this really with sufficient temperature that in those first couple of weeks, first month and a bit, it should have done something. Definitely. And we've had warm temperatures up until like 2 weeks ago. So definitely a lost cause. Anyway, let's get back to mowing. I'm cold.
Check the mic and make sure it sound right, boys.
Alright, so it's the next morning. Got a bit cold and dark last night. Lawn's still looking nice, but I don't think that we came up with significant findings. So here I started doing a sprinkler irrigation layout that I want to make some changes on, and then I started making some notes over those changes. So let's just come to some final findings for this bagging versus mulching thing quick. And of course I've got to show you from the top. There it is. There's a little bit of yellow coming through, slight discoloration. So I think winter is catching up with us slowly, but overall things are still good. Alright, just out here in the green belt near my house. We're busy playing with kids, walking dogs. And I thought this being out in the veld, basically a grassland, perfect place to end this video. Really just sort of summarize the key points between mulching and bagging, and also just to show you what's out here. So this is something very interesting for me. Check this out. 1, 2, 3 of these trees have just been planted here. This guy's trunk in about 100 years will be 8 meters plus in diameter. Can any of you guess what that is? Put it in the comments if you know. Okay, so the conclusion, well, I had a whole bunch of facts and figures put together. I wanted to make a nice detailed video and then it got too long. Then I realized it was boring as heck. I wouldn't even want to watch that. People just want to know what's better, bagging or mulching, and the answer is that there actually isn't a right or wrong way. It really depends on what you want to do. The absolute fact is that mulching means a return of organic matter back to the soil, and in all circumstances that is the best thing for your soil. Only if you have a putting green and it's a sand foundation predominantly, then you want to maintain less than 2% organic matter for predictability purposes. Now, the other downsides to mulching is what I've brought up in the past, is that you can spread diseases, you're going to smother the grass depending on how you've mowed, you're going to spread weeds, you're going to harbor more pests, insects, that kind of thing. So there's lots of negatives towards mulching, but those positives of returning organic matter back to the soil is quite a big one. And then the other side of it is that we know in the lawn care community, or at least should I say we've been told, that when returning the clippings, we're also returning the nutrients back to the soil, and that's not entirely true, because the decomposition process will use up the vast majority of those nutrients just for that decomposition process alone. So it's not actually getting back to your plant to benefit it. Of course, it's still benefiting the soil, but not the plant. So for those of you who thought that you would be saving money on fertilizer inputs based on the fact that you're mulching versus bagging, it's incorrect. You're still going to need to put down, at the very least, the same amount of nitrogen. So after all of that, I suppose that doesn't give anyone any clarity on whether or not they should be bagging or they should be mulching. I think what it does tell you is that you can choose, completely up to you. If you want to mulch, you mulch. If you want to bag, you bag. And only if you see a negative effect from the one or the other, then you stop doing that and you swap it out. And that's it. There is no reason why you shouldn't be mulching, and there's no reason why you shouldn't be bagging. But if you're going to bag, you should be composting that waste. Look at that. That's my winter roadside lawn versus neighbor, neighbor, neighbor. Yep. A little bit of input goes a long way. Alright, that's it. I was really hoping for more of a do this, do that kind of an answer. It just isn't the case. If you feel like bagging clippings, bag them and compost them, in my opinion. If you're going to let them fly, let them fly. Just make sure that those clippings are as fine as possible, and that you keep your moisture levels up and assist microbes as much as what you can. That's really it. There isn't a wrong or right answer. I do believe that there is more benefit to bagging clippings on fine turfs, but if you're mowing anything over 20 millimeters, I think it's pretty safe, so long as those clippings are fine, for you to just continue letting them fly. Didn't think that I would have said that on film, but anyway, hope you found that useful. Please remember to like, subscribe, share this with your buddies. Comment. I don't think we're finished with this topic, although I'd like to be, because I was really and truly hoping that I would end up being the guy who lets his clippings fly because I'm lazy, but I don't think that's right for my lawn. It might be right for yours, but whatever. We'll see you on the next one. Cheers.
It sound right, boy.
Actually, here's some food for thought. This field has been mulching for decades, 50 plus years. So if mulching was so perfect, why does this top layer of soil still look like, well, my soil at home? Why is that? I know the answer, but stick it in the comments if you think you know why. And yes, in my attempt to minimize waste, I have started a compost pile with all my grass clippings and leaves. Let's see what happens in the next month or two, or 3.